Oh. I was gonna do what? Yeah, well, I was going to, well, actually, we're going to publish it. And I'm gonna get with Coffin County to find out who they, how they published it in that regard. And they extended their deadline to July 8th, so I don't have the results back in yet.
Got their color, everything, all those RFPs, everything.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff that, again, I don't know that we're gonna use those.
Recording in progress.
All right. Okay. You can see. There you go.
Yes, sir.
What, Cindy, do you know what I need to pull up?
But you ain't got any good news for us here, do you? I'm scared.
Got all the changes in, but I don't have them loaded to the, y'all portal yet.
Okay, so do you want, do you have handouts or what? Okay. Go ahead. Yes. We need to see where we're at from, all the discussions we've had.
Here's my first visit. These are the top priorities that I think we're dealing with right now.
Okay,
The court's wanting to look at salaries. We're worried about salaries. We've got a major tire project, the ARPA funds we're trying to finish up. We've got a district court leak that y'all have been apprised of for the district judge. And if we don't get that leak fixed, he's gonna move. And that's gonna be even a greater expense. I haven't been officially notified, but my understanding through the grapevine is y'all have sold the tax office. So you got to make plans to start relocating the tax office. We just approved FEMA today that is major, as y'all all seen the debris removal that we just talked about. The courthouse renovation, my understanding is we're applying for a grant to renovate the courthouse. And then out of nowhere yesterday, I get my feet blown that we're looking at putting a new jail in. Y'all cannot do all this in 1 year. You have got to get your list and prioritize what you want to do. And
Can
so,
we go down and address these one at a time?
however you want, this is, and if there's more to add, but we need to make a priority list.
Okay, salaries, I don't know, the tower project is a priority, we all know that. The district court leak, I have been in contact with the engineering company. And they are going to be scheduling to come out and look at the piping above there, and I've asked them to give recommendations on whether we need to just replace the piping or if we could relocate it so it's not running over the district court. And my intention is that would get taken care of and done by the end of this fiscal year.
So it would be in this year's budget.
That is correct. And we have money in the public buildings fund to cover that. So I've got that taken care of. Relocate the tax office. The agreement that I just signed gives us rental out there for 2 years. So we were basically reversing the roles that the Van Zandt County ESD3 will own the facility and we will lease our side back from them for 2 years. That will be effective August 1st. So
A minimum of 2 years. It may last one, may lease one from them for 5 years.
that's true.
But we're paid up for 2 years.
We'll pay for
Yes.
2.
So the FEMA, we have absolutely no commitment at this point in time other than the to go out for bid, and we can't budget for it. You know, until we have no clue what the cost is going to be, but we know the cost will be significant if we did it ourselves, and therefore we haven't come to a decision yet on that. And I really would like to get with the other counties that are doing it and find out how they're going about doing it. But I don't know what we can put into the budget for that. The courthouse renovation, we don't know if we will receive the grant. They won't announce it till probably end of July. Sometime in July is when they will let us know if we have received any part of it. Again, I can't make a decision on that until we know if we're going to get the, if we don't receive the grant, there's nothing there to do, but we do need to budget for working on at least the windows. That's what I would like to do. And that's what I put the $1 million in the public buildings for, is to get the windows all sandblasted or scraped and refinished, resealed, and windows replaced too on the 5th floor. And that will solve some of the problem with the water coming in and going down the drains in the drains that go over the district courtroom, but that's not bad. And the new jail facility, that strictly, and we did discuss about putting money in the public budget, or actually in the contract side for any kind of architecture, engineering, but there's no facility that's going to occur in the next year. So there's nothing to budget other than that money we budgeted for architecture firm. So, you know, it's a planning process that we want to do. So, and if you want my priority list, I don't know, salaries is really not a project, but the priority list, okay, district court leak is number 1, and that will be done by September 30th. The tower project is number 2, and that's ongoing. Okay, courthouse renovation would be 3. That's just pending a decision there. And then relocate the tax office. No, I guess FEMA would be number 4. And relocate the tax office would be 5. I wouldn't even consider it because we won't be a year in. Consider it until the 2nd year of our lease. That's when we do it, and that will be the fiscal 26 budget year. that we would do that. And it may dovetail in if we do the courthouse renovation and we have to relocate, that would be the ideal time to, on which to, consider that too, but we don't know. And then jail facility is 6. So, does that help you?
I'm just looking at our money.
Okay, I understand. I understand.
And
Well, let me
all
go,
of these projects, it's real easy to set up here and approve all this. But y'all also have to understand the trickle down effect of where all the work goes. So, at some point you may have to hire more personnel because it causes more
Understand.
invoices, it causes more paperwork. I mean,
well, that's the whole thing with
can't
this
keep
FEMA.
adding work to
I'm-
the employees that are already.
I'm firmly convinced that we would spend less if we went out and bought grinders and loaders and did the work ourselves. That it would cost the county less than it would to go through this FEMA grant because of all the time that we spent doing the paperwork. And with no guarantee that we're gonna get reimbursed or how much we're gonna get reimbursed. But
But
it's,
then that puts the extra load on the road bridge.
oh, that's right, that's true.
Anyway, here's what y'all are all.
Well, are you stressed out?
I ain't stressed out. I can't get work, I'm sorry. I'm stressed out because as of today, after yesterday. Meeting, y'all are $3,470,938 into your fund balance. So that's why I'm stressed out.
Okay,
Yeah.
Now,
now, okay,
$1 million of that is okay because he's put $1 million in to do the windows. That will.
that's under the contingency part, right?
Yes, and that will, that's a one-time expenditure. And we know you're gonna get into your fund balance for $1 million to fix the windows. I'm okay with that. I put the contingency of 400,000 on there too. Normally, we don't get into our contingency line very much. So we're looking at 2 million. Yesterday alone in the budget workshop. Brent was me yesterday. Y'all increased that budget $457,000 yesterday.
And that's all sheriff, correct? No, it's not all sheriff. That was,
300,000 was, 2 was the consultant for the jail, and 100,000 we had to put back in for you. I did do a position, was it a position that called the county this year? The new positions that added 318,000. And getting into your fund balance is okay if it's not reoccurring every month, because that's what's getting us this year. Is our FY 24 budget was $18,550,000. And our revenue projected this year is only 17. We were in the hole budget wise when we opened that door.
Right.
Because we got into our fund balance last year to fund those salaries. So if we get into the fund balance again this year to fund salaries, because next year, when you start your 26 budget, you're gonna start out at the 20 million, whatever we got done. $20,614,000. You're gonna start right there. And our revenue is not ever catching up with our expenditure.
actually, our revenue is going down.
Our revenue is still stagnant. I shared with Judge yesterday. The maintenance and operating account gained a little over $400,000 in the taxes, the property taxes. I had to lower all of our court revenue, so we only gained $100,000 this year. I mean. We gained $100,000 in revenue and you're tapping into the fund balance for over $3 million.
Okay, so what, when you say we gained $100,000, what happened to the increased tax revenue, 3.5% in the new property?
We give it to maintenance and operating, and I shared with y'all the $750,000 that we had to give over to special road tax. We usually gain about a little over $1.1 million in property taxes. And because of the split and the way we prepare the property tax rate, when we push the special road tax up to 10 cents, we always push more. We push 750,000 to you guys. So we lose that money.
Is there like a, I mean, I know we can't depend on this, so I'm not saying this, but is there like an average of every year, how much goes back into the general fund that's not spent?
I don't have it on.
Well, there wouldn't be an average. I mean, it varies every year depending on what we do with the contingency.
But like we're budgeting for this. And hopefully we don't spend it all. Budget for it.
I
didn't know if
dropped
there's something
expenditures
going on.
for 2024, because in order for me to come up with your fund balance for 2024, I have dropped the expenditures from 18,550 to about 17. But that's just y'all didn't spend it. We're still gotta start this year's budget right there.
Right,
I mean, it's because most of it is because of vacant positions and salaries, but we're gonna budget for those salaries again this year.
yeah, that's why I said we can't depend on that number. It's just us, what if we had that number?
What did you say again? You dropped the expenditures for fiscal year 24
To 17.
from 18?
But you can't, that just builds your fund balance. And then you gotta start your budget back at 18 million. We started 2024 we started 2025 with 2024 budget figures and increased that. And I tried to explain that to Michelle this morning. I give her my test because I know it's difficult to understand when you don't work with it.
So, but the numbers you show, the 5% increase across the board that we gave everybody is roughly $800,000.
Can you scroll on down there? Is it on that sheet?
No, this is the sheet you just handed me. I went and scanned it and brought it up. Yes.
Well, that definitely answers one question that Joe's gonna have. We can't do the two. No way.
Well,
If you go under, well, you're not on the web, or you're not on the portal,
yes,
are you?
I'm online. Is it in the proposed budget?
Proposed budget. I'm sorry that I wasn't more prepared, but been moving. I gotta find it, Judge.
Well, I am.
Go under the workshops. Under workshop.
Hey, Sandy. On the county court of law. You got two numbers there. Should just be one, right?
Well, that's the totaling line on the
Oh,
bottom.
that's a total line.
Yes,
Okay,
but you're right. Well, no, let's see, 39. I only see I carried 56 and 262.
Okay,
Yeah, those are totaling line there.
so that bottom number is still right.
Mhm.
All right, I'm in workshop. What do you need?
Just scroll all the way down to the bottom.
Oh, what you handed me yesterday about salaries?
Yes. See, the 2025 5% increase cost the county, not including road and bridge, $930,565. There it is. Yeah. That's with all new positions that y'all approved in.
That's the number right there we're
Yes.
talking about. This is what it is. Now, no, I took out insurance because that's not really salary. And so that comes to 800,000 is what the salaries were.
But you did have an insurance increase.
Right, and what, there are several categories throughout our budget that went up that we have no control over unless we, what I'm proposing to do, first of all, this budget is not gonna work. We gotta do some major work on it, but, we don't have all the details and I need to come back. One, to show you where our revenue has dropped. Which is why we're not getting as much money to pay and to fund the salary increases. Two is to show you where the expenses have gone up, such as the health insurance, such as the appraisal district fees, whatnot. There's several significant fees. I know there's a lot in IT also that I need to show you where we're at. So, when we started this, we came in and on the second day, he showed us where our revenue was and that I thought we had 1.5 million or something like that, or
In the hole.
no. How much money we were going to get an increase from the appraisal district based on 3.5% and the new property revenue from new property.
It's coming, but it's all going to the road and bridge.
Okay.
So we need to look at everything, road and bridge and everything.
700,000 of it was road and bridge increase.
Okay.
Do special road tax, and then y'all get the split, the 75-25 of all the new property. There will be $1 million come in, but the general funds, M&O will only see 400,000. The rest of it will go to the road and bridge.
And what are our options as far as getting that money back into the general fund?
You got everybody listen on YouTube now.
Commissioner Mel, I'm
It's this
not,
man right here.
I respect Commissioner Melton. Because he's always said the petition that,
That's just confusing, honestly.
I don't know, it's my computer.
the special road tax petition was passed at 10 cents. So we have to honor that 10 cents. So what happens is the appraisal district sends me 2 tax. Once we get the official tax rate,
Mm-hmm.
they'll send me a tax worksheet calculation for special road, and they'll send me one for maintenance and operating. Special roads always falls down to 0.08 cents. And then but you gather them together.
Right.
They're 2 entities.
And we drop it in order to not exceed the 3.5% increase that would trigger a voter approval tax rate. So we drop it by that. So but if we keep it at
We always raise that special road tax back up to 10 cents.
right,
Even though it's over the 3.5%, which Scott
So-
says that's Because we make one, we always take what the tax rate is and immediately give special road tax 10 cents.
Okay. So can we account for that additional going to the road and bridge by the percentage that we give road and bridge out of the general fund, which is at 25? What would it go down to account for $600,000?
You probably have to go to about the 80-20 split.
Okay. So it'd be a 5% decrease in
But we'd still get that 10 cents.
yes. Yeah, we still get it up.
But that's what got our roads in trouble, folks. 20 years ago, we started taking out, we didn't, this court did, whoever was here, started lowering road and bridge funds in order to run the business of the county. And that was the beginning of the downfall of our roads. We're just now starting able to get them back together. And if you cut that, I'm telling you, I'm right here and I hope it's on YouTube. It won't be Keith Pearson doing it. Don't bring the rope after me.
We're just trying to account for the extra money that's going to road and bridge because of because of the system that's been set up
Exactly.
by the appraisal district.
No, it wasn't set up by the appraisal district, set up by the state of Texas, that our revenue cannot increase by more than 3%. Sooner or later, this county is gonna have to be bold enough to say, we gotta have more than 3.5% and put it on the voters. If they say no, then you come right back in here and you start cutting, Andy, and you can say, hey, we tried to do it, we told you, now we gotta cut because y'all don't wanna pay more. We can't keep going out here and doing all this extra stuff without the voters getting in behind us.
I agree, they want this, they want that. If that's what they want, their taxes, it's gonna have to increase.
You know, we've got to be bold enough to say we want to go above that 3.5% because our employees are way behind other counties around us and we want to give them a raise. I think Bobby's got something he wants to say about that.
Yes, sir.
I should appreciate the good back, my first year in, because I know the condition of the roads out there. And I know that if I'm sabotaged by less money, that I'm in trouble. From the start.
Okay, well, you're not getting less money than last year.
Yeah, but we haven't been able to do our progress increase to get our roads. So we're the people are just. I don't know where.
The people are upset, and part of the reason is we told them that a 10-cent tax was gonna fix their roads, and it hasn't happened.
In the office yet, and I'm already.
All right, I understand that. I understand that.
But I've got to clear something up there. They were never told the 10-cent tax would fix all their roads. It was the beginning. They were told back when the KSA report that it would cost, I don't remember what the millions of dollars was.
90 million.
$90 million, and there's no way that the 10 cents would do what that $90 million was gonna have to do. But it's a start. That 10 cents is what stopped the road from getting any worse. The road, no road in Van Zandt County is worse than it was when that 10-cent tax came in. Now, with the exception of these big floods, but they will be restored to what they were. That stopped them from going down, Andy. That's the only thing, right? That 10 cents stopped the deterioration of our roads, and it's letting us rebuild a few of them, not nearly like we'd like to, but it's letting us start digging our way out of that hole. And if you cut the road and bridge increase, that's where this money's going, we won't be able to keep up with what material and labor and equipment and maintenance. You're gonna go, we will start going backwards, just like we did 20 years ago.
It's not just road and bridge, it's everywhere. We'll go back.
And I can fill this room, you give me 2 hours, I'll have this room full of people hollering about it. And I probably won't take 2 hours.
20 minutes.
Because
So-
Joe's.
So we're taking it out of Joe's budget in order to pay the road and bridge.
Fixing to address that. Joe has got major issues out there. But I promise you, any day you wanna do it, I'll bet a four-win stake to anybody in here, you do a survey of Van Zandt County and what the number one complaint is, it's county roads. Yes, there's complaints about the sheriff's office, but the number one complaint is the condition of our county roads.
What would it take to keep the tax rate at what it was? You're not raising it, status quo.
Takes an election.
You'll have a rollback, an automatic rollback, and if it don't pass, then you got, what happens is the appraisal district sends out notices in first of October. And trust me, the older generation go pay their taxes, when they get that notice, they go pay their taxes. November, if the election fails, then we have to pay the appraisal district to resend out all new notices. And if it passed, we would have to send out all new notices, refund all the money, and we would pay the appraisal district. It would cost you what you gain in this year's taxes.
So it's a gamble.
Again,
It should be.
Cause if you kept it at, what are we at, 41 cents, I think, this year?
and there is a certain day you have to approve your tax rate. You're gonna do a rollback.
I mean, I think Chad said it a couple of weeks ago, when you took office, it's what, 58 cents? And it was 40, I think 41 cents last year. And now we've gone down to 35. I mean, it's gonna come, it's gonna come to a point where it's gonna get to 30. I mean, it's gonna come to a point where we're gonna have to do that. But you don't have to raise the taxes, but if you keep it status quo, you can keep on moving forward. Thank you.
I mean, you can do things like with the purchase of the sheriff's cars this year, 450,000. You can go finance that money and pull that money out of your budget, and you'll have a year reprieve before you start making payments on it, but.
That's just
And that's
putting a
what we
Band-Aid on
used
the
to
problem.
I mean,
That's all it's
you know,
doing.
that's what got us in trouble.
Yeah, that's just putting a Band-Aid on the problem. That's not fixing anything.
I mean,
So
Which,
you have two options, increase revenue or reduce expenses. You know, so that's basically our two options. And, you know, so we need to research.
I think we might look at, with salaries, we gotta keep up with the counties RY, or we're gonna be back in the same situation where we're just training people in the sheriff's office and basically every office. You get them trained, they move for more money. If we go back to the way we were. But what if we did alternate like 1 year, county employees, 1 year elected officials, maybe we only got a 3.5% increase, that's all we can get. Well, if we just raise the county employees by 3% and not elected officials. I mean, we're giving, if all we're increasing is 3.5%, maybe we shouldn't increase salaries by 5, we should go down to 3. I mean, or try to get the status quo tax rate where we're not raising it, but we're bringing in funds to do it, but we don't want to get back in the situation where we're getting employees and training them, and all they're doing is leaving, and then we're stuck with what we were stuck with. But I think it's got to be sold to the public, because they're going to think, well, y'all just want more money. I mean, they're going to have to know why. When we're going to have to sell it to them and show it to them. 'Cause I don't think we're wasting any money. It's just, it costs a lot.
I mean, your budget is always, the county budget's gonna always be employees' salary. And I figured the percentage of this year's budget, salaries are 58%. But they're always gonna be, I mean, it takes employees to run the county.
Well, what if we looked at 3%? I mean, that cuts it not in half, but almost in half. And not worry about elected officials.
Just have to look at the numbers.
I'm good.
I asked Sandy to do to calculate it. In fact, that's up there right on the screen, but it includes insurance. So you take 128 Again, it's 800,000. This is the total amount for the increase in salaries at 5%. It'd be 800,000 if you take this insurance amount out. Okay, I asked her, run it at 4%. And it basically went down, $85,000,
That's 1% off,
1% off.
so 2% would be 160,000.
Yeah,
But that's including elected officials too.
yeah. But that's not gonna be very significant. You're looking at maybe 20,000.
On elected officials.
Well, you're gonna take constables out of that?
For the elected officials, you bet you
Oh,
are.
well,
You
yeah.
know, if
We're
nobody
going
won't get a
back
raise,
to
nobody
drawing
won't get a raise.
Or we could try to sell the status quo. We're not raising the taxes. Cause I'm not for raising them at all. But we just keep them where they're at. But like Sandy said, it's a gamble.
Well, if we keep more out, we have to, it has to be election, has to go to the voter. Which, you know,
But if you did that, that would solve the problem that we're having right now,
that is, if it passes.
if it passes.
If it doesn't pass, then
Then it'd be our job to sell wine.
it actually costs more.
Yeah. Not finding, there's a date you have to adopt your tax rate if you're gonna,
But that day is coming. 1 year. We're just kicking the can down the road, so we're gonna have to make that decision. Cause this is gonna keep getting lower and lower.
It's
and lower.
going down 4 to 5 cents every year,
And that ain't gonna,
which,
with the
you
way
know,
we're growing, and it ain't gonna jive.
you have to. If your voter tax rate exceeds the voter approval rate, you have to approve it not later than the 71st day before the November uniform election.
That'll be like August.
Yeah.
You have to do it real early.
How would you even word that? I mean,
I'm sorry.
this has nothing to do with it, I don't guess, but how? On the election ballot, what does it say? Do you agree to?
they have the language in the code, exact language that you gotta use. It's gonna raise your taxes,
If we're not raising the taxes, we're keeping the status
No.
quo.
That's what
you're
they
raising
say.
taxes.
you're raising
It's
taxes.
not raising the rate.
Anytime you go $1 over, you gotta have a public hearing.
We're raising the taxes by 3.5% automatically, raising the taxes. By lowering the rate, we're still raising the taxes.
We're rolling the rate back to offset a big chunk of the increase in appraisals.
Appraisal values.
Right.
Yes.
That law's gonna get changed.
I would kind of like.
It's gonna get changed, it's gonna go to 2%. What they wanna do,
Well,
I
every
would-
county
I
in
would kinda
Texas is
like
extreme,
to, take
unless
the
you got
time
oil
to
wells.
I miss having commissioners over here, I had somebody to talk to, in that corner by myself. Sorry. But I kind of like to clarify one thing. A big part of our conversation has been about how much to increase road and bridge by. At no point in time have we ever said anything about reducing road and bridge budget from last year. It's been how much are we going to increase it by, that's what the discussion was. And I'd like to make sure everybody understands that. It's not a discussion of we're gonna take money from last year. The amount of money available in the 24-foot road bridge is not going to go down. It's gonna go up, it's gonna increase. The biggest part of our discussion was how much are we gonna increase it? And I just like to make that understood. At no point in time have we talked about reducing the funding in road and bridge compared to last year. We just talked about how much we're gonna increase it by. I'd like to clarify.
that's
that
right,
point.
but if you're gonna limit my increase, you're gonna limit everybody else, every other department in here. By their increase too, but it is not, it's still, Chad, that's not right, and if you were, I guarantee you, I don't think that you would be feeling that way if you were gonna be the incoming commissioner. Next year, I don't believe Chad LaPrade would want to lower his road and bridge, increase.
Lower his increase, is what you're saying. Not lower his budget, but lower his
That's
increase.
exactly right. Every department in here is getting an increase, and that's why.
No, we haven't approved this budget. We haven't approved any.
Okay, well, we're
Everybody's
working on
getting
that.
increased.
Everything's increased, what we're working on, that's why we're in the situation we're in. So you're wanting to take road and bridge and lower their increase to cover the others. And it's all, and I understand, you've got to focus on what the number one problem is. That's all I'm asking you to do. is
And the number
focus.
one problem is
Roads. The
roads.
number one complaint in Van Zandt County is roads.
And how much money will it take to eliminate that complaint?
A lot more than we got.
Okay, so you can't fix it, so you want to just let it go get worse then? Okay, I can't fix it, folks, I can't fix this
That's
problem.
what you're telling them right now, because you can't do it because you don't have the money. That's what you're already telling them.
That's exactly right, but I don't want to do less for them.
Yeah.
I don't want to
I
cut what I'm doing
understand.
now and do less for them. And you know, you've been on the campaign trail, you know exactly yourself what the number one complaint.
I've done a study on my roads, and for me to get every single road fixed right, it's 16 years. Is what, you will never, the roads will never be all good, just because in 10 years, it's a constant, there'll never be enough money. You just do the best we can with what we got, but we don't need less. It would take 16 years to fix these roads.
Well, if you're gonna think about a rollback election, you have to have your, you have to have your tax rate set by August the 19th.
How much more would that increase? What? It's gonna be 35, and what was it, 40, was it 41 last year?
485, I think.
0.40, so yeah, 41 cents. So we're looking at 6 cents. No, 5 cents. 5.5 cents, whatever. But I think Keith's right. I think we sit up here and we worry about getting reelected instead of worrying about what's doing right, what's right, what's got to move this county. The date's gonna come where you gotta do it. So I mean, I don't know.
Well, Keith, you said that had I be coming back in office in January, I would in no way consider
I
a
don't,
lesser increase.
that's
in
my
road and bridge.
opinion, yes, sir, that's my opinion.
That I would in no way accept a lesser increase in road and bridge than what's currently said. So I want you to know for sure, there's no way I'd vote for a tax increase on my way out. I come in fighting it and I'll fight it all the way through. That is more important to me than the amount of increase we put in road and bridge. Now, I would totally fight a decrease in road and bridge. There's no way I think next year's budget have less than last year's. That ain't happening at all. There's going to be an increase in road and bridge.
Well,
But I would not vote on a tax increase on my way out the door. That ain't happening.
well, it's not, we can't vote on a tax increase. We put it to the voters.
Right.
That's just like if you ever put a bond proposal out there, we're not raising those taxes. The voter has the opportunity to say, yes, I'm good with that. It's the same way with this. If you put that out there that the county needs more money, then you're not automatically raising their taxes. I've never had a problem with raising taxes if the voters approve it. If the voters want to pass a bond election, that's their business. If they want to pass not to turn that down the rollback election, that's their business. That's the way we operate. If the voters want to put Joe Biden in office, that's what they did. I might not approved of it. That's what the voters did. And he's my president until he's gone. So that's the way we work.
If people thought like that, Chad, we would never get it done because it's alternating. It's not that you're not, and this is my opinion. If I was in your shoes, you're not doing anything wrong. It's not a fun decision and it's not an easy decision. It's
Well-
probably not a popular one, but it's the one there is a,
The reason we're in the situation is because we're limited to a 3.5% increase. When you've got inflation running 6 to 8% for the last 3 or 4
That's
years.
exactly right.
So all of the costs have been going up, but yet we can only take in so much additional
Exactly.
revenue.
Your hands are tied.
So unless we cut services and cut out stuff that we're doing, that's the only way that we can accommodate those inflationary costs.
if you treat this, and say he's gonna give me an eyeball on this, if you treat this like a business, what are businesses been doing? Is you know, a loaf of bread still 90 cents? No, what they do, they went up to $1.20. I mean, all these businesses.
They pass the cost along.
Yeah, they're passing it along. I mean. And guess what? People are paying it. Cause we have to.
And we do the same thing on our fees. Best I remember, them fees on what we charge have not gone up very much since for the last 7 years. But yet the cost of sending those employees out there to look at that stuff on those fees, it is constantly going up. In other words,
Right.
your septic
Labor,
tank,
labor,
your
okay.
on-site sewer fees, permits. But they stayed the same.
The on-site sewer, I even had to drop that. I'm having to drop revenue every. Which, I mean, it's all revenue is down.
And I think up here, and I think it's legitimate. I'll just use the word scared. People think about reelection and that now because they're scared, which you don't have to worry about in the public world. And we gotta get out of that. We gotta do what's best for this county.
Well, I'm not voting for an increase in the tax rate. I'm not gonna do that.
So you vote to keep it the same?
No, I'm just voting not to increase the tax rate. And anything that's gonna result in an increased tax rate, I'm not for. It should roll back, it should go down, and it's designed to go down, so appraisals go up. That's the way it's designed to do.
So what would be your solution on the problem we have? I mean, we'll go back to where we were 4 years ago, we'll be back in the same problem. And we're gonna, well, why are we back in the same problem?
That's something we gotta discuss and figure out. And I'll tell you this much. It's not fair. Put that elected official in a position he can't do his job. Because we're not directly responsible for his position.
So it's fair to put me in a position where I can't do my job.
Nobody's put you in a position where you can't do your
Oh,
job.
yes, you are. Yes, sir.
And bottom line, it takes money. That's bottom line. Everybody, all these vendors that we buy from have increased their prices by 9%. We can't help it. And we're taking in 3. That's what it comes down to. And we either, I'm not gonna say that on camera.
If I'm right, the way the budget's sitting right now, road and bridge is increasing by 14%.
It's not just road and bridge. It's I mean, it's every office. The paper's going up, office supplies gone up, sheriff, gas is going up. I mean, it's not just road and bridge. It's every single department. Their vendors have gone up 9 and 10%.
Were you talking revenue or expenses on road and bridge?
So the way we've currently got the budget set right now, as it says, the amount of increase in road and bridge is 14%.
In revenue or expenses?
Revenue.
Revenue, okay.
Which increased, which automatically increases expense.
And how is that it automatically increases expenses?
Because it lets you buy that much more material to fix roads.
You're not buying more material because
Well, yeah, well, you're buying
the same
less
amount.
material, you're getting less product, but it's costing you that. Because in 7 years, the average piece of material that I buy has gone up 100%. But my revenue in 7 years has certainly not increased 100%.
we're getting less with more money now. Because everybody out there is charging us more. We're sitting here, oh, just keep on going down. Just do what we can, and then the public, like he says, grabs us by the roads, well. You want better roads, or at
So,
least status quo roads, then we're gonna have to do something.
So what would be an acceptable amount on this fund balance for fiscal year 25? Right now, it's showing three and a half million, including the contingency. You take the contingency out, we're at 2 million. Now, 1.5 million of that is from fiscal year 24. Which may or may not come back into play. So we are rolling in what we budgeted for last year, but going into the fund balance, going into the fund balance again this year, and we can't keep doing that. So what would be an acceptable? Basically, we have to work backwards. What would be an acceptable number to have?
Well, I projected you to wind up 2025 or 9 million,
Right?
but then I looked at that list that I showed you. I mean, we talked about paying this morning. How much of that, are we gonna take 1 million out of that?
I don't think a million's gonna cut it.
Because we're gonna need to tax it all.
Right.
Before FEMA reimburses. And when we write a check, when Kenny writes a check, there's gotta be money in the bank to cover that check. Even though, oh, it's a reimbursable grant. But that's the kicker, and you're only gonna get 75% of that.
And then we're going into salaries on that, and that's reoccurring every year, and that ain't sustainable.
That's just that's why, that's why I brought it up.
Well, it needs to
We
be brought
worked
up.
hard to get to that fund balance, but the elected officials cut their budgets. And they suffered for us to get where we're at, and we suffered in salaries.
And we'll suffer again if we do what we
And
want to do.
you will exhaust that fund balance within 4 years.
We're just kicking the can down the road to the problem when it hits us, and then we're gonna be, holy crap. It's gonna go, well, we need to raise the tax rate from 20 cents to 50 cents because we're so far behind. Well, we're trying to, well, my opinion, status quo. Y'all say it's raising it. I don't say it's raising it. I keep saying the same.
But Brendan, if the voters come back and say no,
I know, it's a gamble.
because the voters are who pays your salary.
Exactly.
The taxpayers are who funds us.
But if the voters knew what we know here, I'll give them enough, I think they got enough sense to understand, because we all live in the same world. We're all, I mean, you can't just go say, hey, we want to keep it status quo. I'll be like, well, no, that's crazy. No way. But if you explain it to them on what's going on, I think they'd understand. That's my opinion. I would understand it. I mean, I would get it if I knew the information that I know now. Now, if you asked me that 3 years ago, I'd be like, you're crazy. But if you would explain it to me, I'd understand.
Yeah, well, they already think that because of the appraised values went up, we're raking in a whole lot more tax revenue, when that's not the case.
So that's a little ball of wax. If we would separate a county tax bill and a school tax bill, they might see the difference there. That's a whole different ballgame. Because everybody thinks these taxes are going up. And look at the county tax, it's going down. It's these schools that are paying for it. And if you separated those, if I got a tax bill from Van Zandt County and a tax bill from Van Independent School District, I know what I'm paying the Van Independent School District. I know what I'm paying the Van Zandt County. I wouldn't be griping about Van Zandt County, but I'd be griping about Van Independent School District.
All right, well, I think we need to do a whole bunch more analysis and come back with numbers on reducing the 5% increase and between elected officials and regular. And I want to go through and specifically identify areas of revenue where we declined and see if we can address that. And what does your schedule look like for next week? Wednesday or beyond? Wait a minute, we got We got another commissioner court meeting on Thursday. So you wanna do a workshop on Thursday?
I'm available any day you want me.
Okay, let's do another
It's
work.
gonna take more than a day.
Okay, well, we can start out at 10:30 and go after lunch if we need to.
All we gotta do it Thursday. Do is Monday and
So
Tuesday.
we'll already be here, because I don't have, it won't give me time to do research and put numbers together. So I know we'll already be here, I'll be here for the commissioner court meeting, so.
Sandy, can you put together? Man, I don't know if these three agree with me or not, but just put together what the difference between 35 and whatever the 40.08 or whatever it was, what the difference in revenue on that would be.
If you don't drop your tax rate, you maintain it.
Yeah, keep the status quo.
I have a whole bunch of requests, but we'll do it by email. So, but yeah, but I want to go through and I want to help identify. Because I know two major expenses, close to over $200,000 that we already have. You know, and there's more, and I just want to say, okay, these are all the ones we got. Before we even do it, salary increase, this is what we got to account for with the amount that we're gonna gain. So the only way to do that is either use the amount we gain or cut somewhere else.
You gotta remember, we're only as good as our employees. And you start lowering them and they just start going to other places and we're back in the same boat.
Okay, well, an alternative is that we go into our fund balance and we end up having to go borrow money. And then we're back into the same boat that the county was in 20 years ago.
We don't wanna get there.
Wow. Oh. All right, is there anything else that y'all want to address in this budget workshop? Yes. Which meeting was that? Budget meeting? Yes, Ann, what's up? Yes.
And
Mhm.
I was listening to it on YouTube and I could pick up everything that was said. So if I'm misrepresenting something, I'm sorry about that. But anyway, what I heard was that Lance Lance said that you needed to have 100,000 registered voters in order to have an election next week. And that is totally false. That's what he said.
I think he said you shouldn't have one unless you have over 100,000.
Well,
That was his opinion.
Here from counties, Rains County with 9,000 registered voters has an election administrator. Many counties our size have an election administrator. So, I don't know where he got the should from.
Mhm.
The second thing is, if he's going to give input about whether or not to get an election administrator, the Democrats should be included in this discussion. Shouldn't just be up to Republicans. And third, I heard something about that they weren't happy with the Kaufman County election administrator and regretted having that position. And I just texted the Democratic county chair in Kaufman County, which is Sarah Whitaker. And she said she's totally unaware of any problem whatsoever going on. There's no discussion of trying to get rid of the election administrator. So that was said, I just wanted to put in a different point of view.
Okay, Thank you.
I have to state a few more.
okay, thank you very much, appreciate that. Anything else? All right, Thursday at 10:30 and just plan for the whole day if we need it. Maybe we'll,
I have a,
maybe,
I have a active on it too.
okay. So we'll work, yeah, nothing like, in the middle of the budget cycle and throwing everything else on Sandy, she's gotta do this conversion. So maybe we'll work through lunch and get done with it.
I set out, so it was back up on 2:30.
Okay.
Do
Do what?
what?
That will be, we have a commissioner court meeting on Thursday at 9. So 10:30 would be the budget, be after the committee. Well, Actually, we could probably start at 10 because
Sooner.
there's so little agenda items on the commissioner court meeting that will be done relatively quick. So I'm gonna get 10 budget workshop at 10.
That'd be fine.
And if you,
Sooner, that's not-
if you have any agenda items for next week's,
I'm saying,
commissioner court meeting, try to get them in today, no later than Friday.
Real.
When it starts.
We are still recording. So, but the meeting is over. Yes, we're still broadcasting. So, yeah, yeah. So I can't turn it off until we don't have a quorum. So,
Well, I'm trying to get out of here. I gotta get my papers together. I'm not talking to you, but I'm still here.
oh, come on, you talk to me.
I ain't talking to you. I'm not talking.
That is. All right, will do.
That's my memory jar. When I forget to bring it.
All right, it's gone, so now I can leave this and